Why do we keep circling back to Luke Daley? I'm Bullhorn Betty. We've been covering the case of Miss Nancy Guthrie. She was an 84-year-old grandmother, mother of famed Today Show co-host Savannah Guthrie, ripped out of her bed in the middle of the night on February 1st, the wee hours of morning. Her family dropped her off around 9:45 the evening before, after dinners and games, never to be seen again. They get a call from people from church saying she never arrived. They go over to the house. They see a blood trail out the front door, a gate propped open in the back door wide open. Not knowing what happened, they call around to hospitals, then to law enforcement. Law enforcement arrives to their house at 12:15. Now is the hardest part, trying to convince law enforcement that Miss Nancy Guthrie is truly missing, that she did not wander off her property. She couldn't have wandered off her property. Something happened. Welcome, everybody. TGIF. This is the Bullhorn Betty Show. Let's get into it.
Bullhorn Betty rocks.
So grab your beverage, get comfy, say hi to the coffee club. Welcome, family.
Coffee steaming, files on the table. We clocking early, hunt what's unstable. Bullhorn Betty on the curb, voice raised. Flip-flop queen with the homemade phrase. Notebook thick, got the screenshots flag. Names in red ink, every rumor, every tag. Late night live stream, screen glow on her face. Truth in her throat, got a lawman's pace. She don't blink when the threats roll through. Come see me, she says, if you think that's cute. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that they gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we get that justice. Insane Asylum, that's our crew nickname. Laugh so loud while we track these names. Whiteboard wild with the webs we spin. Pen to pen, see the pattern sink in. Turmo shaking when the case goes cold. We stir it back up, won't do what we're told. Doorstep question, side eye stare. Where were you that night? We hanging right there. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that they gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we get that justice. This for the faces on the milk cart labels. This for the families praying at tables. This for the names that the news won't say. We say them out loud every single day. Every day. If you're running in the dark, better feel that fear. Betty got a bullhorn right in your ear. Coffee club crazy, but we think so clear. One small town, whole world gonna hear. Hey! Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that the day gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we take red
I get so sidetracked. I'm so here trying to read these chats that I get so sidetracked, and I almost forgot that we were like the music's going off. I'm like, whoa. This is manual, folks. When you hear that at the end of the show, that's manual. It's manual. We do. I do that. Okay. That. Right. I do that. Guys, it is Friday. We have survived another blessed week. Holy smokes. I don't know if this is what happens when you're a child, everything seems to drag on. Right? Just drags on. Tick tock. Tick tock. Like, are we there yet? Right? When you get a little older, it's like, can we please slow down? I'm not ready for the casket just yet, okay? I feel like I got one foot on a banana peel and the other one already in the casket because these weeks are just like boom, boom, boom. I mean, we were just here, just like yesterday, talking about TGIF for last week or last month, and here we are here. It's like, oh my gosh, guys, we're about to approach September. Cut it out. Where the heck did this year go? Oh my goodness, just slow down. Please slow down. How many are with me? We just need to slow it on down. Pump the brakes, sister. Right? We're trying to party our way, you know. It's just like, okay. It's nice to see you all. Yo, mama, yo, our beautiful mods, the real me too, Miss Sonia. We've got Betty fan, and our beautiful Pebbles. I don't know if they're all up in the chat, but we always want to say, hey, because they keep the chat really nice when I'm not paying attention to you, right? You guys get a lot of conversations. Arizona Raven, Carmi, it's nice to see you. Yo, mama, yo, says, we ain't ignoring you. I just got to get the kiddos ready. We got Libby. Good morning, Libby. It's nice to see you, love bug. I hope you are doing well. The Ruby Pearl Glamper. It's nice to see you, my love. Hello. YouTuber says I haven't made it. Dun, 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 dun. Rose, it's nice to see you. I hope you are doing well. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Who else do we have up in the chat? It's hard for me to read because I chose not to put my glasses on this morning because I just love my glasses. Let them 66. Melanie, da boss is up in the house. Da boss, because we need that whip crack. Tina, it's nice to see you. Our beautiful Sonia, there she is. Jeanette, trust the process. Good morning. Carol, Lisa. We got a lot of Lisas. We're collecting our Lisas. We got a Lisa B always. We got a Lisa C. We got a Lisa Beach Lover. Man, we're getting our Lisas. It's nice to see you guys. Welcome. Maybe I should just say good morning, Lisas. Good morning, Lisas. Crystal Pistol, it's nice to see you. Good morning, Sandy. Hey. Erna, Sleuth Fairy, Linda. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Who else do we have? I think we just popped up. I see Weather Junkie. Blacklisted. Ooh, life moves fast. You ain't lying. Smincy. Silver Fox up in the house. Hello. Ow. I've had coffee. Gerald, it's nice to see you. Jewel. Veronica. Hello, loves. Ooh, I missed one. Jewel, I missed you. Oh, my gosh. Oh, we even have a Lisa Marie. Ooh, good morning. Good morning, Lisas and Lindas. Lisas and Lindas. Oh, it's nice to see you. Good morning. Kathy, good morning, love. Weather Junkie, there you are. Laura, good morning. Very blessed. It's nice to see you, love bug. Charlene, good morning. Welcome. M.E. Hey, Leslie. Good morning. Tammy? Tina? Good morning. I think we're getting everybody. Lenny Bean. It's nice to see you, love. It's been quite a few years. I'm still here. Lenny. Well, hello, love. Hola. Summary, it's nice to see you. Good morning. Margaret, Heather, good morning, guys. Groovy Gal, Vicky, good morning, guys. Nice to see you. I don't know why my eye is starting to water. My God. Allergies have been horrible for me. I wake up this morning and I start sneezing so bad. I'm like, really? You wake up, it's like you got a dog like trying to stick a tongue down your throat and you can't quit sneezing. You know, it's like, oh, good gracious. So, as you guys see, Luke Daley is back on our screen. What? What is Luke Daley doing back on our screen. What in the world is going on here? You know what? Luke Daley had a federal search warrant. We have to remember Luke Daley had a federal search warrant, guys. Luke Daley had a federal search warrant. He didn't have, and whether it came from a federal magistrate or a federal judge, a regular judge, it doesn't matter. It still has a higher level of scrutiny than a magistrate at a local level. Okay, period. It certainly has a level of scrutiny, and you're dealing with much more advanced law enforcement agencies when you're dealing with the federal apparatus, right? This is pretty interesting. If you guys don't know, Miss Nancy Guthrie, and I'm pretty sure if you guys are all here, you're probably familiar with the history of Miss Nancy Guthrie, but these shows stay around long after these cases go away. So we don't know at what point somebody's going to be coming and consuming this video. So I always start out with a little Reader's Digest version of the case, and I usually say it a few times throughout the show, depending on who's coming in and when you're coming in. So Miss Nancy Guthrie is an 84-year-old grandmother, mother of a famed journalist, Savannah Guthrie, on the Today Show. She has been missing since she was ripped out of her bed in the middle of the night on February 1st. The last time she saw her family was the evening before, when she was being dropped off at her home around 9:45, and when they received a call the next day that she did not arrive to her scheduled event with friends at their home to do an online church service that she does and has been doing since 2019, they knew something was not right, and called family members. The family members made it to her house shortly before noon. By 12:15, law enforcement is pulling up, taking the initial missing person report. Miss Nancy Guthrie has not been found. No person of interest has been identified. No suspect has been named. No vehicle has been identified. No route of their travels or how they got Miss Nancy Guthrie out of that community has not been revealed. And law enforcement has come under heavy scrutiny for their handling of this investigation. Without a doubt, we have a lot of questions with the investigation of this. There's just been, it's been a litany of problems with this investigation, and it's been a litany of problems with this investigation on such a national and public level, and it really has made the country, if you will, really not trust the sheriff or his team handling this case. And we want so bad for that to change, that image, that, you know, mind thought of Chris Nanos to change, but it's not going to. Chris Nanos is who he is, and at the end of the day, we couldn't understand or couldn't put our finger on why we weren't really gelling well with Chris Nanos, who I now refer to as the criminal sheriff of Pima County. And it's because of his terrible history as a law enforcement officer and the many lies over the last 40 years that he's had to tell in order to maintain that unlawful job. He's not supposed to be a sheriff, okay? And there's no way in the history of our country would he have ever been hired. This is a classic example of a ball being dropped 40 years ago, and this mistake carrying on for 40 blessed years until it reached a point where we have a lady missing, the FBI trying to help, and an officer that has been under federal investigation, sidelining the most elite law enforcement body we have in this country. So we have problems here. And then we have things that also made us question Chris Nanos' ability, right, to investigate this case. And that was really early on. February 10th, you know, we learned about the masked gunman. We saw the video of the masked gunman. We've seen a few different photo arrays of this guy on the FBI website page specifically for Nancy Guthrie, as well as the director Kash Patel's personal FBI X account. He posted some photos that weren't on the website for Miss Nancy Guthrie. So at this point, we see a lot of this. Then comes Carlos, the first, knock and ram, kick in the front door, investigation, going into the house, seeing if Miss Nancy Guthrie's there, pulling him and his wife over in their car. And this is all really weird because, Carlos, his statement's a little strange. We didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it, but now in hindsight, where we're just trying to grasp at straws here because we don't know where this case is going, and law enforcement seems to be kind of, not informing the public, not really giving us straight answers, which does happen. This happens in every case that we have, so that's not uncommon. But it was the fact that Carlos even stated that he felt he was being followed so much so that he just pulled over the car and got out to go question the cop about why he's being followed. And it's like, that was just really strange. I don't know if normal people do that. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm around town bebop, and there's been many times that I've had a cop behind me for a significant amount of time. I never pulled my car over and got out and wanted to go interrogate the officer behind me. I mean, I've never done that before. I've done a lot of stuff, but I've not done that yet, right? So that was a pretty interesting revelation. But I think on just us looking at him and seeing how authentically his expressions were when not law enforcement, when the media came up and basically shoved cameras and microphones in his face and said, oh my gosh, what did they pull you over for? What did they say? What did they ask? What did they want? Did you have anything to do with it? And he's like, no, I didn't. I felt kidnapped. I didn't know what the hell was going on. But his demeanor was so authentic that I think 90% of America believed he was innocent. I still think to this day, 90% of America believes Carlos is innocent, and he very well may be. I think that I felt at the beginning, we've never really talked about Carlos, and if I haven't talked about Carlos, where he is in my mind in the story, right? Because if I really thought he was an integral part of this story, like I believe Luke is, right? We would have talked about Carlos like we've talked about Luke. I also want to put our legal caveat on this show, guys. I want to remind everybody that this is a true crime channel. While we do bring in a lot of valid and reputable information, please do your own research. I'm not responsible for any errors and omissions in my reporting. I also want to remind people that Luke Daley was not a person that social media brought into the story. It's someone that Pima County Sheriff and the FBI brought into this story. Although nobody has been named a suspect or a person of interest, Luke Daley is not even being accused of this crime. So he doesn't even have, the whole adage of, innocent until being proven guilty in a court of law, because he hasn't even been charged. So I want to remind people that this is for discussion and commentary purposes only. This is not to accuse any specific person of any wrongdoing. And please, 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 no matter what we report on this show, never, ever, ever reach out to these people. I think that's a step too far. We open up our show, we open up our channel, we open up our chats for you guys to express and get some of the heavy stuff off your chest when we deal with these cases. And that's where you guys rage, okay? You rage in the chats. What you don't do is you don't go real life. It's what we call real life. When you step outside of YouTube and start reaching out to these people, that is a self-control issue. We hope that everybody is an adult here and has self-control. We are not all Chris Proudfoots, okay? That man has zero self-control. Zero self-control, as we all can see. Okay. Now that I'm done with keeping myself clear and lawsuit free with this commentary we're going into today, now it's time to get into the brass tacks of this show. Okay, at the end of the day, we have been talking about this case since, I want to say, February 2nd, February 3rd, very early on in the investigation we've been involved. And while we have assumed that there, at least for some of us, if anybody's like me, you probably have several different, how many people have several different theories about this case? How many people have several different theories? If you have several different theories of this case, put a 1 in the chat. If you've only had one theory or you only maintain one theory at a time, put a 2 in the chat. I'd like to gauge my audience. How many of you guys have multiple theories? 1, you have multiple theories. 2, you do not. Make it easy. 1, you have multiple theories. 2, you do not. Let's gauge the audience. How many people have multiple theories about this investigation? BHB, Carlos' brother-in-law was handcuffed when the house was raided. I remember, if I remember correctly. Is it possible that Carlos is innocent, but the brother may not be so much? I guess anything's possible, but I don't. In my estimation, I think Carlos is completely innocent. His whole family. I think that was just. I think that was just bad. I think he met a facial recognition software. Like, I'm starting to think that his was facial recognition, because we see the composite, even though the composite's not an official, rendering of the assailant, it came from Lois Gibson. And Lois Gibson is like world-renowned, sketch artist that has helped solve 1,200 cases. So he looks a lot like that sketch, and I have to think that if she authored that, because it is about science. When you're dealing with those sketches and stuff like that, it's about measurements from the eyes. It's very technical. You're finding bone structure, and you're building based on bone structure and measurements. That's how you're building these composite sketches. Like the eyes are further apart or more narrow, then the bridge of the nose is a little more narrow up here but much broader down here. Those are the things that you learn when you do it. And it's a science. It is a science. It's not like mental health, mental illness. It's not theory based. There is a science to it, because bone structure is a science. So I would have to estimate that if one forensic artist came up with that composite drawing, another forensic artist would come up with something similar. Maybe not identical, but definitely something that's probably on the realm of more similar. And that, let's face it, let's put it up here. Let me take this off real quick. Oh no! Where is my suspect? There he is. Okay. So that looks like Carlos. Okay. I keep wondering if another forensic artist for, say, Pima County, or maybe the FBI, had done a rendering of this masked assailant. And maybe it wasn't identical to this, because I know that, artists, from artist to artist, they have their own way of doing things. So I do believe that it would have been a little bit different, but for the most part, about the same. Okay, about the same. So could it be that the forensic artist also composited something similar to what Lois Gibson did? And is it possible that they used facial recognition and identified Carlos through that facial recognition? Because now I'm not saying that is what happened, but to me, it seems that could be more probable how we came across Carlos, because, again, Carlos looks stinking really familiar to that Lois, that Lois sketch, and so that's kind of where I'm at with that. So let me come over here. Oh, thank you, Melanie. Melanie gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. Thank you for that because I'm a love machine. Thank you. And for the newest member, who is it? Laura B. Miami. Welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straitjacket in your padded room and welcome aboard. It's nice to see you. Good morning. So, again, coming back to this was a federal warrant. This was not from a local magistrate judge. This is either from a federal magistrate judge or a judge. Doesn't look like the porch guy. He doesn't. I agree with you, Blacklisted. I agree with you. So what we have learned over the last few days is we have assumed that there is a possibility at least one of our One of our theories. It looks like a lot of you guys have multiple theories. I know I certainly have multiple theories, depending on different elements of the case, because we don't know what the motive, means, and opportunity was. Well, we know what the opportunity was. They broke into the house in the middle of the night. We know the opportunity was there, right? And just about anybody had the opportunity at that time. Anybody in that general area would have had that opportunity. So that literally puts thousands of people in a suspect pool, right? Because anybody had access to that house in the middle of the night, just like these mass assailants. But one thing we've learned is we've only heard from the neighbor, which only identified one person. We have the still from January 11th, which only showed one person. And then we had the video from February 10th, which again only shows one person, one masked subject moving about, or does it? Since then, the Brew Crew, which we've learned is a gentleman, something Brewer. Let me pull him up here so I get his name correct. I hate making mistakes. What is going on with my, there it is. So we've got the Brew Crew, and I think the guy's name is something Brewer. Let me see if this one has him behind. Yeah, the Brew Crew and Charles Brewer. He is a retired law enforcement officer and I believe a retired judge. Very smart guy. I came across his page for the first time because Lisa B. Always sent me an article about this unknown light source. And although there is no evidence that I can't see a physical person there, I have determined that a person has to be there, because you're not going to have a light source moving when we see the porch guy's hands, right? So we know where his hands are, we know where his body is, we know where the reflected gear is, and we see this light source going from up to down, like they're trying to help light an area for him so he can work, like ripping that camera off. Now, one of our audience members did send me their interpretation of this, and we'll analyze it here in just a minute, because they believe it might be a light, if I'm reading the email correctly, might be a light from the doorbell camera. So I want to look at that this morning just to confirm we didn't miss anything, and we'll discuss that. But for right now, you're right. I don't believe Luke Daley is the porch guy. But I also now am convinced he wasn't the only person on that property. I truly believe that we have a secondary person up at the door. I think the secondary person up at the door was already there before the porch guy got into the frame. The reason why is because as soon as he walks up, he looks directly at something. In that same area of something is where the light comes down, okay? So I'm absolutely convinced there is somebody sitting up at that door out of the frame of the camera. Now it goes back to Monk's intrigue. Are we positive January 11th guy is the same guy for February 1st? In my estimation, when we were dealing with one subject, yes, it was. Now that I'm convinced we have multiple people on this property at this time, at least two people, yes, YouTuber, but I think we have a third person. I think we've identified 3 people on this property, because we have the initial person up at the door that we do not see, that the masked assailant comes up to and looks at when he first approaches the door. You see him look directly at something. And that's the same area where this light comes down. So I believe he's looking at a person. So he's looking at a person. He's walking up to the door. He sees the camera. Okay. Now we have this assailant here, porch guy here. And then we can't forget Pretty Little Clues and Rhythm and Clues. Massive finding of somebody standing over at the car. Now, this person standing over at the car that we identified looked very familiar. Very, very, very familiar. It looked like Tommaso. But when we pulled a recent photo of Tommaso, one that we've seen since the beginning of this case, we realized something very, very important. He's got almost a white beard. The person in this image has a pitch black beard. Not white, not salt and pepper, Black. I think it's Luke Daley. I think what we're seeing, and we're going to go through all of this. I'm going to walk you through why I believe the way I believe. This right here, in my estimation, may potentially be Luke Daley. Okay? Again, I want to caution everybody, this is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research. I am not accusing anybody of any wrongdoing or any crime, especially one that requires a murder of an 84-year-old man. It was something that Justin, I didn't go into Justin's chat yesterday, but I did see his show for this case. And I'm pretty sure that he was implying the same thing, although I didn't watch his video. I think that he might have made the leap. And when I saw that, I'm like, I think this might be right. And I went back to this. And I wanted to go a step further. Okay? I wanted to see, because the problem that we're having with Luke Daley, and something that I have spoke about this entire time, is Luke Daley changed his appearance. Out of all three people that I want to refer to as at least persons of interest, right? I think that I can say that these people are persons of interest in this case, even though and I think that law enforcement has made them persons of interest. I just don't see it. Okay, Virgo, well, stick with me. Stick with me. I think that you might see it. Stick with me. I'm not done yet. I am presenting. Now, granted, I'm not trying to convince you guys, okay? This is something that is developing. This is something that's new that we've learned just in this last week of these things. So I'm going to walk you all through the evidence so you guys can develop your own theory and determine for yourself, okay? I'm not here to convince you to think like me. I'm here to present to you your information. I make decisions for what I think happened for myself. Okay, not for my audience. But what I do do for you, I said do. What I try to do for you is at least present compelling information that you guys can digest and decide what it means for yourself. So thank you, Virgo Terry. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I hope that you learned something new. I mean, this is what it's all about. I hope that I earn my thumbs up. So this also is a call for the thumbs up, right? So if you guys are here and this is your first time to the show, please consider subscribing to the Bullhorn Betty channel. Don't forget to turn that bell to all. And if everybody in the chat could give me a thumbs up, I would greatly appreciate it. That's how we keep the lights on. And we're going to go through some things at the end of this show. If you guys would like to help with, I would greatly appreciate. So stay to the end and we'll go over those things. It looks like Tommaso. It does. It did. But we found Tommaso's most recent. There's no way it's Tommaso. I can promise you there's no way it's Tommaso. Entirely too dark facial hair. Too dark of facial hair. We have confirmed that. So, do you guys remember the night that Luke Daley was arrested or detained? I keep saying arrested. I don't like using that word. Let's go. I'm with you. Okay. Thank you, Virgo. We're going to work it. Okay. Here is the mask. This is the Luke Daley that I think we're looking at in the back right there. That Luke Daley. Let me pull this up here. The Luke Daley that had all that facial hair. There's the Luke Daley with all this facial hair. You see that? He's got a dark black, no pepper, no salt and pepper in it at all. Look at that nose. Look at that facial. Look at that. Okay? So I'm not really, oops, I got to pull this back down. I can't do both. Oh my gosh. I'm probably going to have to, in order for this to work out, hold on. I think I'm going to have to scroll into this. I think I'm going to have to do the scroll in thing. There we go. In order to make this work, I think that's what we're going to have to do. Come on. Why isn't it going up? Okay, maybe I didn't do it right. Hold on. Why isn't it going up? Oh, it won't let me do it. It'll let me do it to an extent. Huh. Okay. So let me try it this way. Will this work? No, you won't. It ends up getting this thing smaller. Look at that. What a son of a, bleep, bleep, bleep. But you guys can see it. Okay, so we got, this is better. So you see that. That's Luke. That's Luke Daley at Culver's, okay, that night. He had a full face of, he had a black mustache, a black facial, all this stuff here, right? Now, again, the image that we're looking at here, let's be honest, it is blown up. It's pixelated. It's not clear. Okay? It literally could be anyone. Okay? I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page for this. It literally could be anyone. So let's go ahead and start with the presentation. Okay, first and foremost, we have this guy right here. It's stopped already in the same exact spot that it was yesterday. Let me go ahead and move this up so you guys can see it a little bit better. Right there. Let's keep going. Can we keep going? Can we keep going? Let's see. Let's see. I think it's doing the same thing. Okay, as you see, he is looking at something. On this particular, he is looking at something. You guys see that, right? He is looking. He's looking over where when he first pulls up. When he first pulls up. So let's watch him first pull up. Let's go back just a tad. I'm going to have to reduce this. There we go. Let's watch him pull up here. Let's go back. It's in literally the first second. It's the first second of this. He's looking down. He's looking down. You guys see this, right? And he walks up and looks. He looks right over there. Right over there. Out of the scene of this light. Right over there. He's looking right over there. Why is this important? Because over in the Brew Crew, here you go. As you guys can see, right here is the light from that area. Now, your guys like, no, well, I can't tell what this is. Well, let's just go back. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Let's go back. Let's go back. Okay, let's listen to what this guy, we're going to go back maybe 20 seconds. 20, almost 30 seconds. We're going to go back to 30 seconds. This right here is Charles Brewer, again, retired sheriff deputy, retired judge. He might have been the sheriff, the actual sheriff. He seems very knowledgeable, okay? He seems very knowledgeable. Let me move this over to the right side here. So do I have a better right side? Do I have a better right side than left side? I think I like the right side. I don't know why I like the right side. I like being on the right. We'll do it from here. I like this one better. So let's listen to what he has to say, because he's talking about this unknown light. So Virgo, this is where I'm building the receipts for you, okay? And actually, I do need to be on the left-hand side because the lights are going to be on the right-hand side. So let me go ahead and stay over here. Let me reduce this just a little, make sure we're not missing anything. Okay, I can see the line on the side there. Okay, I think we're good. I want you to watch this. This is very, very, very interesting. I think once you guys see this, now I'm going to have to explain it because I don't know how many of you guys have watched my prior show where I've already explained it. So it's just, I know that it's almost like beating a dead horse for my regulars around here. But just in case somebody hasn't been here before, like Virgo, I don't know if you were here earlier this week to watch this presentation, but I'll break it down for you here, okay?
Larger than it actually is. So I'm not identifying this as another person. I'm not identifying, it as a flashlight.
I'm not doing a flashlight.
I'm certainly not identifying it as a selfie light.
I am calling it exactly what I believe that we can safely call it.
And he's right, safely call it, to be accurate, it's an unknown light source. I'm making this step further and saying there's no way that this light source could be there without a secondary person, okay? My common sense, my problem solving, the way my brain works is it works on logic, okay? I know that there's not, that he doesn't have superpowers that, can make a light source levitate. You guys see what I'm saying? So he's not saying that. This officer / judge is not saying that there's another person here. I'm saying that there's another person here. So I want to be very, very clear.
And that is an unexplained light source.
We're getting close.
Now watch.
Now, I'm going to go back. Now you guys see it. It's right here. Okay? Now we're going to let it go to the full thing. There it goes. It just dropped. It dropped down here. You guys all saw that, right? It was up. It dropped. Okay, so there's the light source. Now, at first, we thought, okay, because he had straps, right, on his backpack. So we thought, okay, this is probably just a reflection from the strap on the backpack. It's not. Let me show you why it's not. Okay. So let's go back to the beginning. Okay. So we're here. Let's go.
Calling it exactly what I believe that we can safely call it.
Okay.
And that is an unexplained light source.
Okay.
Now what?
Now here, this is going to be the best explanation for this not being the straps on his jacket. So his whole body is right here, as you guys can see. This is his left hand. Okay, so if you don't know what hand we're looking at, this is his left hand. These are the straps. This is the left side strap. This is the right side strap. This over here off frame is his right shoulder and arm. Okay, you guys see that? So this is the left strap, right strap. His arm you can't see because it's out of frame. So all we're seeing here is one arm, one hand, and one hand with foliage in it, and it's his left hand. So we're going to keep watching this. Okay.
Watch.
So he's still over on that side of the screen, which is to me the left side of the screen, but he's actually in the screen on here. He's kind of on the, I think, the right side. So this would be the right side. So he's out of frame on this side. So let's keep going. Let's keep going. And you know what? These things are backwards. So I think we think that this light is coming from the side of Nancy Guthrie's home, or, you know, the other side. We have to look at this because this is mirrored. So we have to remember that. But there you go. There you have it. And as you saw, his body is still right here. So we know that the strap is right about here for the left side and right about here for the right side. So he never moved. So this light source right here is coming from something. And it's going from, and for it to move, this is what implies that it's a human being. Watch. It's way up here, and watch what happens to the light. And it drops right where he needs it to see as he's trying to remove the camera. Now, this also answers another question of, could this be from the camera moving? If this was a light from the camera, then the camera would already be off the wall, in my opinion. Now, I could be wrong about that, but I don't know. I can't remember what the email said. Let me see what the email said here. Let's see what the email said. I want to try to find out if this could be a possibility first, while we're sitting here at this point in here. So let's look at this. I was thinking about the light that comes out. Maybe it's the Nest camera falling off. If she had the exact one, no. If it was falling off, then the camera would have moved. The camera never moved. It's all one piece. Okay, so I understand what you're saying. And yeah, that would be a possibility. Could be a possibility, but I just looked at it. It doesn't look like the camera moved. If the camera had moved and not just his hand, like you could see the camera moving. If I moved the camera here, you would be able to tell it's the camera moving. I don't think we had any camera moving. Let's just look at it one more time. Let's see if the camera moves. I don't think the camera moves. Some guys, look, we're going to look at this to see if the camera moves, like it might be unmounted. Okay, let's go back 5 seconds. Let's see if this moves.
And that is an unexplained light source. Now watch.
No, I didn't see the camera move. I didn't see the camera move. Well, hello, Wendy. It's nice to see you. My issue has always been, did Nancy get a taxi to Annie's? If not, I wonder if there was an issue that made... no, she took an Uber to Nancy's, but from everything I learned is that the Uber driver was a female, and the Uber driver turned over... apparently she had cameras in her car, probably because she's a female, and the camera showed the entire ride from Miss Guthrie's house to her daughter's house. So she did take an Uber, which is similar to a taxi, but there was cameras inside that car, and it captured Miss Guthrie's entire ride from every. I mean, I haven't seen it, but law enforcement stated it's early in the investigation that they've got the record. Now, maybe not early in the investigation. I think it was around March or April. It was a little bit of time after the case started, but I remember an article coming out that law enforcement has the video of Miss Nancy Guthrie's ride to her daughter's house. I remember hearing that. The camera is on the right, the light is on the left. Yeah, that's it. So I don't think it's a good thought. I mean, but I don't think the camera doesn't appear to have moved for me. So now we have this light that's moving, okay? That tells me that somebody has to be there moving. I mean, this guy's not an octopus. One arm's out of the frame of the camera. The other arm's obviously in the frame of the camera trying to take the camera off. So we know where his body is. And now we have this light source that's moving. That's telling me somebody has to be there moving that light. That light just popped out of nowhere. He didn't move his arm. He didn't turn any light on. Somebody had to have done that. And if somebody had to have done that, then it is, in my opinion, another person there. And we saw him go up there and look directly in that location when he approached the front door. So then a Pretty Little Clues found this right behind all of this activity. And here's the car that we see, and then outside of the car is this image here. Now this is the image that I believe looks more like Luke Daley than anybody. This here. Because again, we're dealing with him here when he had a full face of hair, when he had his beard, his mustache and everything. He was a full face. When he did that interview, he is the only one out of the three, and I'm going to call them persons of interest, because I truly believe they were persons of interest. The first person of interest, I believe, was Tommaso Cioni, and I believe Annie might have even been there. I believe we might have 4 persons of interest, because I believe that they did scrutinize Annie and Tommaso Cioni very heavily, especially the first 9 days, because they had literally nothing else to go on other than they had a crime scene and the son-in-law dropped her off at home. That doesn't sound too promising, right? So I think that, we have Tommaso. Tommaso never shaved his beard off, never cleaned up his face, never dyed his hair, never buzz cut his head. Like, he already had a buzz cut, probably because he's, older and he's probably balding. And a lot of people that are older and balding just shave their head. It's just easier for them. So we have Annie and Tommaso, but again, they may have left, and I know that's going to be brought up, but they never changed their appearance. And then you go over to the next person that was detained, which was Carlos. Carlos Pazalusa, or whatever his last name, Pazalusa, whatever his last name is. We'll call him Carlos P, right? We'll call him Carlos P. And so Carlos, he was the next person to be raided, right? So we already know that law enforcement went into Annie and Tommaso's home. They took a bunch of stuff out of their home. They impounded their car, just like the other 2. They impounded their car. They took their cell phones, took their computers. They did all that stuff. We watched them do it in real time. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Were they in Annie and Tommaso's neighborhood? They absolutely were. They were absolutely in Annie and Tommaso's home. They absolutely took Annie and Tommaso's vehicle for a really long time before giving it back. So we know for a fact they were looking at Annie and Tommaso, without a doubt. So I believe for a fact that Annie and Tommaso were the first persons of interest in this case. Then comes the video on February 10th. I believe, now this is just my belief. It doesn't hold water. I have no evidence to support it. But I do believe that maybe they did facial recognition for Carlos. No real lead, no real, just faulty facial recognition. He looks like the drawing. He looks like the drawing. He looks like the drawing. So I think they got him on facial recognitions, probably very low, totem pole low, for them to kick in his front door and do what they did. So I'm hoping it's not just that little, but, you know, with Pima County, who knows? Then 3 days later, on Friday the 13th, this is Luke. This is when Luke is pulled over. This is when Luke is detained. This is when Luke is getting fingerprinted. At this photo right here, he's being fingerprinted by law enforcement. Okay? He's being fingerprinted by law enforcement, and his car is being taken with them. His house is being raided where his mom is. And somebody sent me an email. I want to be clear about what was the other guy's name? Give me a second. Zach. Early on in the case, Zach was a very promising figure in this. And Zach, and the reason why is because Luke was pulled over here on the back of his brand new, semi-new Range Rover that his mommy bought him, was a license plate cover, the little thing, the advertisement that go around it tells us where he purchased his vehicle. Well, sleuths looked up that name, went to that website, realized this Zachary worked there, and thought, oh my gosh, this really looks very identical to this. The problem is in 2019, whenever COVID hit, he went to Jordan. We didn't know that at the time. So on day 40, day 50, that first few months, we talked about Zach, but we did not realize where Zach was. Since then, there's been multiple content creators that have actually reached out and personally spoke to Zach. Not just spoke to him, brought Zach onto their panel to speak. And he's in Jordan. He's in a completely different country. It's not that he was brought on the panel and he just said he was there. He's in Jordan. He's in a different country. And he has produced his passport to show when he went to that country in 2019. He hasn't been back to the USA since COVID. So, yes, he did work for the place where Luke purchased his vehicle, but the image that they were using was from 2018. It was an image that Zach took in 2018 that they kept passing around. So since that initial thought of identifying Zach, we have since learned where Zach truly is, and we have sufficient evidence to prove Zach is in a different country on the other side of the world. So Zach is out. Zach is not even a possibility for this case. He's not. Now, I've also cautioned everybody, does that mean that he couldn't have anything? No, it doesn't. He still has a lot of tentacles and a lot of ties to this area. Okay, Zach is, his best friends were the one that had that shop. He has a lot of ties to the local area. If it was them, which, again, is questionable. Could he have ordered it? Could he have still been part of planning? Of course he could have. Even from Jordan, he could have been a part of something. But him being physically involved with the crime, that's the problem. We have evidence that he was in a different country. And I believe the evidence that was produced that he was in a different country, but he produced his passport. He showed his passport. His passport shows when he went back to his country. So I wanted to clarify that because I know as we start going through these cases, we forget things. We go back to do research and we hear like Zach and we're like, oh my gosh, who's this Zach guy? And we go and we forget that he has been investigated. We forget that he has been thoroughly vetted and he wasn't in the country. So we didn't know that at first when he was brought about, but we're 6 months into this case. We found out where he is. And I think I'm confident enough to think that Zach had nothing to do with it. Zach has pictured on social media he was here in 2023. Zach has pictures on social media. He was here. Can you send that to me, Lazy Days? Because I'll send it back and ask about that. Because I know he went on even JLR's channel. He had Zach on his channel and he questioned him. He wasn't in this country. And are we sure that photo, because, there's saying some things that I post on social media that happened years ago, and I'll find a photo and I'll put it up on there. Are we positive that it was a recent photo of him being in the United States that he posted in 2023? Are we sure it's just not an older photo that he had previously had, but he just happened to be talking about it in 2023? I just want to make sure that I want to see the post in its context to find out when that photo is. I just want to be sure, that's all. Because this is what I know. And I remember him saying on Jonathan's channel that he has not been back in this country since he left. That's what he said. He has not been back in this country since he left. So if we do have evidence that I heard him say 2023, also he showed a little of his passport. That's it. Was it 2023? I thought it was 2019. I may need to go back. I might have my dates wrong. But I could have sworn he said it was COVID. He left during COVID. I remember him saying he left during COVID. Where did 2023 come back? Let's find out. I'll look for the interview. Maybe we'll do the interview on Zach tomorrow morning. Let me write that down. Look for Zach interview. Look for Zach interview. Okay, yeah. Let's look for Zach interview. Okay, we'll go over that tomorrow then. I don't want to derail this conversation piece for that just yet. So we'll go over that tomorrow. We'll find out. We'll do the research. That'll be good. If we have some conflicting information, let's resolve it. So now we have the light source. We have what we believe is a second person at the front door. And Pretty Little Clues and Rhythm and Clues have identified a third person at the car. And I have to, when we look at this doesn't look like a shadow to me. That looks like a legitimate person. There were some things that were sent to me that look like shadows. I'm sorry, but this one, height and weight next to the vehicle. The vehicle's right here that we've seen back there. So in conjunction with the vehicle, the height and weight is proper. So I believe we have a person back here. This is the first time that we've been able to identify or see a bird. He looks like he's wearing eyeliner looking eyes. Well, I think it's because of the way the shadowing works because this is blown up. This is in Nancy Guthrie's camera lens, but it's further behind the porch guy in that dark area. So we see the car. Let me show you where the car is. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Okay. So here, let me get on the other side. So here is the car that we saw behind the porch guy. Okay. And this is where it's at. The yellow mark, you can kind of see it in the proper, here's the porch guy at the camera coming up, looking at what appears to be maybe somebody else. And then you see a car right back here behind him. And this is the car. Now, right to the side of this, what we identify as a car, right to the side of this is where you're finding this image right here. Okay, I just wanted people to understand where this is being derived from. Okay, where this image here is being derived from. So this is what appears to be the portion of the car. Remember the car? We said we see a car. There's the portion of the car, and next to the car is this image of what appears to be a person. Now, it's very pixelated because it's from a far distance away. Again, this is the distance away it is. You see that blue line back there? It's all the way back there being blown up and being modified, and not modified, but enhanced. That means they're using low lights, highlights, taking down the whites and the shadows and stuff like that until other images start surfacing. So they're not altering the image at all. They're just playing with like the saturation and other things like that to lift things to the surface that are potentially out there in the dark. We've done it in the Sebastian Rogers case. Other people have done it here. And the result of that is this image here. Now, I'm sorry, but if we look back on the day that he was pulled over, this is what he looks like right here. Okay? He had the mustache. He had the beard. When he went for his he shaved all of that. He shaved all that. He used long sleeve flannel. Let me show you what he looks like, what he looked like for the interview. For those that are curious. I'm going to have to put my glasses on. I can't. My print's getting a little too small. Oops, no, the wrong one. There's Nancy Guthrie. Let's go over here. Now, I'm pretty sure I've got it under, suspect, January suspect. I think I got Luke walking in. Where's Luke Daley's interview? Luke Daley charges, no. So we have him walking in. I thought I had his interview. I don't think I have his interview. I had to have saved his interview. All right, let me just find Luke Daley interview. Isn't that her name, Brianna? Brianna. Let me just take the Whitley out. I don't know if that's if I got Brianna Whitley. Okay, here it is. Which I could have thought I could have sworn we had this on YouTube.
On the surveillance video, the abduction.
All right, so let me save this. And Nancy Guthrie, Luke Daley interview. Luke Daley interview. Okay, there we go. It will be saved. Okay, so this is what he looks like now. Okay, you guys see that? See how he changed his appearance? So this is him the night that he was arrested. You can clearly see he's got a beard. You can see his it looks like a goatee. It doesn't look like it goes up. It could go up, but it doesn't look like it goes up the side of his face. It looks like it's just right here. But you can clearly see right here his face, his beard and mustache. You can see the mustache. You can see what appears to be a goatee down here. So this is him. Face full of hair. Face full of hair. Just like this image right here. A face full of hair. Looks like this person has a mustache and at least a goatee. It looks like a full beard, but it definitely looks very similar to this right here as far as facial hair. However, by the time he did his interview, now mind you, we're also looking for some potential tattoos. Remember when the person reached up for the camera, it appears that there was something kind of right down here on the arm. Right? And so now it's freaking 100 degrees outside. And this man comes to an interview in long sleeve, thick flannel with a dark vest on and a tie. Fully, look at his face, baby face. He removed every single bit of facial hair. Look at the color of his eyes. The reason why I tell you to look at the color of his eyes is because some people have put one of his Snapchat photos where he changed his eyes to a lighter blue. but he has deep brown eyes, and that is important. That is important. So we've got a man here that has shaved down. Now, again, we've got 3 or 4 persons of interest, right? We talked about Annie and Tommaso. Annie was probably cleared first because Tommaso truly was, at the time, the last person that saw Miss Nancy Guthrie, and because he dropped her off at home around 9:48 at night. Garage went up at 9:48, went down at 9:52 minutes. I still think that's quite a long time for a little old lady to walk across her garage. But I digress. 2 minutes. It took almost 2 minutes to the second for a garage door to go up and the garage door to go down, okay? So I believe Annie and Tommaso were the first persons of interest in the case. Then came Carlos, right? Which, again, I feel like we all don't believe he had anything to do with it. He was caught up in whatever he was caught up in. He's innocent. He doesn't have anything to do with it. He was very authentic. He always seemed to be very authentic. Even though we keep comparing him to the photo that Lois Gibson put out, we believe he was authentic. We believe he had nothing to do with it. We could be wrong. I will tell you guys. I just want to be honest with you. We could be wrong. We don't know. Okay? So we could be wrong about Carlos. But for all intents and purposes, I don't think anybody in my audience truly believes Carlos had anything to do with this. But then comes Luke. Okay? Luke is a little different. He was a federal warrant. Carlos was not a federal warrant. It sounds to me like Carlos was a magistrate local warrant. Luke was a federal warrant. They went to a federal magistrate or a federal judge. And a federal magistrate judge is a judge, but depending on what they're asking for, they may have had to elevate it to an actual federal judge instead of a magistrate. A magistrate, I just want to inform you, whether it's a federal magistrate or a magistrate, a court, local court, or state court, magistrate are the lowest judges on the totem pole. They have the least amount of experiences. They're overturned more than any other judge on the bench. A magistrate judge is a very low level judge. I just want to I don't want to criticize their some of these magistrate judges do have a nice resume, but I'm sorry, there's a lot of magistrate judges that have never had even held a legal license. I don't think anybody should be judging anybody unless they have a legal license, unless they know the law, okay? And I'm sorry, I think it's unacceptable to have judges that have never held a law license in their life, okay? I'm sorry. You need to be a lawyer. You need to have a law license. You need to be accountable to a state board, a state licensing board. If you are not licensed and you're not beholden to a state licensing board, you should not be a judge. A judge can ruin people's lives. So I frown upon any judge that doesn't have a legal prerequisite in order to be a judge. And they, believe it or not, I know you guys are like, who the hell would let a person that doesn't have a law? It happens all over this country, and it's completely 100% legal. Please do your own research. It scares the crap out of me. So now we have Luke Daley here. We have this image of this third person that appears to be standing by the car. We all agree that Luke Daley does not appear to be, some people still believe he might be the porch guy. I'm not sure what I believe. But what I do know is I know in my heart and soul that definitively I think we've cracked whether or not we definitively have evidence of multiple people on scene. And I think that we have evidence of multiple people on scene. I think that light movement, that unknown light source that Charles Brewer discussed, that he's not wanting to say as a human being, I'm making that leap that it's a human being. And I think that proves a secondary person at that door. And then we have now a person by the car. Since the beginning of this case, a lot of people have stated they believe that there is a minimum of 3 people, one in the front, one in the back, one at the car. We have 2 in the front, 1 at the car. So is there a 4th person? Was it 2 in front, 1 in back? We still have to resolve a gate being propped open with pots, a back door being propped open with pots. Who went through the back? If 3 people are in the front, who went through the back? She came out the front. We have 3 people that appear to be in the front of this house. Who went to the back? I think we're going to find out we have 4 people on scene here. But the stories that we have come out with over the last week have been, there's no possibility of the FBI or Chris Nanos and the Pima County Sheriff not seeing these people. They've absolutely had to see these people. And I know that they saw these people because we have one video that was cut. Okay? This is the video right here. This is one video. This video and this video go together. Both of these videos go together. Okay? This video here and this video here go together. So why are they not produced in one video instead of 2? It is because this man here is looking at somebody, okay? This man here is looking at somebody. And there's somebody over here. And so when that light comes on, you got to remember, he's looking at somebody. I think somebody walked in front of this camera before, but right when it gets to him turning around and stepping back up on this platform right here, it cuts the video and brings him right up to the video. That whole engagement from the time he gets the foliage to the time he makes it back up to the camera is wiped off this film. Let's watch. Okay. So he's walking up to the door. He looked at somebody. Let's look at it again. Hold on. There he is. It looks like there's a light over here. Do you guys notice how much light is stuff? So I think there might be somebody over here with a light. Because he's walking back. Look. He picks this up. He talks to somebody back over here. Look at him go back there. Bup, bup, bup. Now he comes back over here and it cuts off. Boom. And the ending of this video is right here, where he's now back at the camera. This was all one video. They cut this video when he stepped back up on the porch. Why? Because I believe the secondary person that's holding this light over here, the secondary person right there that's holding this light over here, I think he stepped into the camera. I think he stepped into the frame of the camera, and they needed to cut him out. Why? Because they needed us, for whatever reason, to believe that there was only one person at the scene. I believe law enforcement knows there's multiple people at the scene, and I think that they've willfully and intentionally deceived us about those facts. Because even in the press release here, they talk about a singular male's behavior and choices, not multiple males' behaviors and choices. Yet, I believe we have multiple people on the scene. I believe we have somebody up there at the front door before the masked assailant even gets there. And I believe we have somebody we can see out at the vehicle. Is this the reason why there's a federal search warrant for Luke Daley? Because I'm sorry. Many people say they don't believe Porch Guy is Luke Daley. Do you believe this could be? So Virgo Terry, what say you now that you got to see all of this? It's pretty compelling, is it not? I mean, it's not, it's not 100, but it sure is compelling. It certainly is compelling. Hey, Strawberry, it's nice to see you, love. Gathering federal witnesses, they want the Y person. Yeah. 3 or more, and who needed that many people to remove Nancy from her home. That's why I think what we're seeing is staging of the scene. We can only work with what we're fed. Yeah, that is true. And a lot of this stuff is hunting. It's hunting. It's hunting for the smallest little tidbit of information. And I think that it was done. Now, since then, Charles Brewer did come back and discuss his opinion about whether this, I think he did start addressing whether or not this truly was a person there. So I I showed you guys the one argument that this is an unknown source, and I kind of adopted that this is another person, right? I made the leap. He didn't make the leap, but he's also a judge and a prior law enforcement officer. We're again, the public opinion, investigators and courts, right? So they have to, by law, be stepped through. Yes, it is, Betty. Okay, good. I'm glad you got something out of it. But, they have to have steps. Remember, like I said, we move so much faster than law enforcement because we're not beholden to paperwork. We're not beholden to proper documentation for court purposes, right? We can't do anything. We can do anything that we want to out here because we're people. When you're law enforcement, you've got protocols, you've got paperwork, every little thing you do. If you guys know anybody that's in law enforcement, or let's face it, anybody that's a nurse or nurse practitioner, what's the one thing you guys hate to do more than anything in the world? The paperwork, right? But they're required to do the paperwork. That takes forever. They have to stop everything they're doing and write step by step every single little thing that they did to the nth degree, right? The nth degree. The ninth degree, I'm sure is what I'm going to say the nth degree. The nth degree. Tiffany, nice to see you. I've always questioned Luke from the beginning. Who comes into an interview with layers on, sweating like us? I know. And his mom didn't help him. She's so sweet. And so, I'm sorry, I can't imagine having my poor little mommy. Let's not forget about my mom. My mom went through so much stuff when I was younger. Oh, that poor lady with all the shenanigans. I did, but his mother, God bless her, but she's in a tough situation. This is her son, but at the end of the day, this is why we need parents that hold their children accountable. Guys, you're not doing your children any favors always constantly fixing their problems. And I think this is just the epitome of a mom that's never allowed her son to be held accountable. She's always been there to help him, always been there to bail him out, always been there. Sometimes you just need to let your child fall on their ass, okay? Get the skin knees. You can't sit there and constantly be protecting your child. You're going to have a Luke Daley. I think this lady has protected this kid her entire life. It is poor Mama Bullhorn, but she did it to herself because after she had me, she decided she wanted another one. Okay, let's not forget about little sis. Like, if I had a mini me, I'd be like, yeah, I'm one and done. I'm one and done. There's no. Nope. Not today, Satan. Not today, okay? I'm sorry. Not today. God bless you, Mama Bullhorn. But not today. My mama needs a lot of. She's crazy. She is. Yes, she is. We're thankful for Taylor, but yeah, I don't know what the hell my mama was thinking. Like you had me. I was ready to pull your hair out, right? Or have you pull your hair out? I guess that's probably the best way to fit it. Misspeak. But anyways, I don't know why she did that because I gave my mama hell. Like my mom, I put a lot of gray hair on that woman and a lot of wrinkles. I got to tell you, my teenage years and my 20s were no joke. They were no joke. My mom, there's a lot of prayers that went into the woman you see before you today. I will tell you that. There's a lot of prayers that went in the woman you see before you today. Charles Brewer, again, highly respected. I just came across him. Lisa B always sent him to me. Seems like a really nice guy. A lot of knowledge. I love knowledge, right? Always, if you guys know anything, always learn. If you guys can learn, please learn. Like, learn. Never stop learning. Never stop learning. It keeps your mind sharp, too, right? If you're constantly learning, you don't have time for your mind to be forgetful with, whatever, Alzheimer's, right? If you're constantly learning, you don't have time for your brain to start getting forgetful. That's the way I think about it. I'm telling you, keep that brain working. It's a muscle. Exercise it. Okay? Exercise it. You guys take care of a lot of your bodies, but you ain't working your brains. Even Miss Sonia's going back to school. She going to her classes. Always learning a new trick, a new trade, new something. So this Charles Brewer from the Brew Crew, Beyond 5-0. So if you guys have not subbed up for him, pretty good content. The stuff on Nancy Guthrie's definitely enjoy watching. There's his link. We're only going to take a few moments of this stuff up front. I want you guys to see him. Real kind guy. And then we're going to further discuss, because he kind of addresses this elephant in the room, if you will, because, again, it's an unknown light. Well, where did this light come from? I think we have to ask ourselves, could this light have been, stuck to the door? Of course not. We don't see any lights. We've never heard of any lights being stuck to the door. So it's not a motion light, thing that comes on. And then it moved, right? It went from up here to down here. It moved. So what are we looking at now? My brain is very black and white. There was nothing there, and then now we have a light moving. It tells me something is out of the view of the camera. And then with the moving of it, tells me that something has to be there to move it. What could move? Well, it's the middle of the night. It's not a coyote. It's not a rattlesnake. Well, by God, it's got to be somebody, right? It's got to be somebody. So that's kind of how my brain works. And it might be wrong. My brain might be wrong. My interpretation might be wrong. But my common sense is telling me that light is there and popped out of nowhere because somebody is there with a light in their hand, moving it from up here to down here. That's what my brain is telling me happened.
It as a infrared cameras can produce strange effects. Compression can create shapes that aren't.
Sorry, I went too far. Let me see here. It goes over the Corbell camera, activity. Okay, so let's get it right here. I think we're right here. Sorry, guys.
Connection is restored. So that's the 25 minutes that's got my attention. 1:47 to 2:12. And now some of you have spotted something in the FBI's own video that makes those 25 minutes even more important. That's a lot.
He does. He talks like a judge. I gotta tell you, he does talk like a judge. He's got a nice southern drawl. Seems like a nice guy.
A light that it appears briefly off to the side of Porch Guy. And I don't know what it is. I don't know who's holding it or whether anybody's holding it. But today we're going to slow this thing down, and I'm going to slow it all the way down to 0.25 speed in the video. And we're going to...
Guys, I want you to notice, because in this image right here, you can see clearly. Do you guys see this down here? You guys can see clearly the deadbolt and the doorknob. The deadbolt and doorknob. And I also found out something. We got to explain this photo, because this photo is confusing a little bit. I mean, the images are confusing a little bit. Are we seeing a mirrored image, or are we seeing an unmirrored image? Different cameras do different things. Mirroring changes a lot, okay? Mirroring changes a lot. So let's keep going.
We're going to look at Porch Guy and see what he's doing. And we're going to look at that unexplained light. And then I'm going to let you decide what you see. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name is Charles Brewer, and I've spent 21 years.
This is where he gives you guys this update. This is how I found out. He is because I told you guys I thought he was a sheriff, and then I thought he was a judge, and then he explains that he's just a sheriff here, and then I thought, okay, well, maybe he's just being facetious up here talking about Judge Brewer, and then somebody in the chat said no, he was a judge as well. So he's a cop. He's a retired cop and a retired judge.
in law enforcement. And one thing that I've learned, doing these videos is sometimes thousands of eyes looking at the same piece of evidence will notice something that one person misses. And that's exactly what has happened here.
Yes.
Several members of the Brew Crew started pointing me towards something in the FBI video that I haven't given enough attention to. And I really haven't even noticed it up until.
Nobody has. Nobody has noticed this. Again, had it not been for Lisa B. always sending this to me, this guy to me, this whole thing, and explaining this light, and it's like, there for a while when I first looked, I brought it to the channel, but I personally, I thought it was the strap. I thought it was the strap. I even brought it up before people, and then it's like, wait a minute, let's just stop and see where everything goes, because maybe he leaned in like this, and that's why the strap's right there. But he never leaned in, and we could clearly see his body, and it was like, oh my gosh, this really isn't a strap. It really is a light. And so then you watch it, and it goes from here down to here, as if it's trying to adjust the light so he can see better. Maybe to get his weeds behind the camera to yank it off. So this is where we're like, oh my gosh, we've got something here. We really got something here. And then we start going into all of the possibilities, and we go back to the FBI video, and then right then and there you see the porch guy walking up and looking straight at whoever is holding that light. So that was the second indicator that there must be an individual out of the frame of the camera. And so I go back to the FBI camera, and I'm like, oh, they cut the video. Oh my gosh. So now we're starting to see all of these things lining up where law enforcement would have had to do what? Know that there was multiple people on this scene. They knew that there was multiple people on this scene. They willfully deceived the public. I'm sure there's a reason for it. They probably was looking for a gang, whatever. They didn't want us looking for people. They didn't want to let as much information. That's, in all fairness, how many people are on the scene does go to the integrity of the investigation when you are searching for phantoms, okay? And that's basically what we're searching for here. We don't know who these people are. We know that they're there, but they're phantoms. So if we have one person, then maybe they're going to be making some mistakes because they know we don't know that there was 3 or 4 people on the scene. Well, now we're developing reliable information from the files that were given to us by law enforcement, and it clearly shows that there might be multiple people on the scene. And we're starting to develop even more from the stuff that we're getting, even with people getting their high-tech photo software. We got a lot of people in the true crime genre that come from all different walks of life, from advertising to making 3D videos for clienteles for advertising purposes, that they're now using those skills to help break down cases in 3D format for us. People have a lot of gifts on this platform that aren't used in law enforcement or true crime that they are using to help us out. And we see that all the time, like with Brian Koberger. We had that lady that gave us those 3D things of how the crime took place. That was really informative for us. So we've got a lot of people that have high-tech video software and equipment that are now using some of those things to help us identify things in these images that we don't normally see. That takes a little more professional quality equipment. I can tell you that when we were working on Sebastian Rogers' case, the simple settings just in an iPhone was enough to start lifting images in photos. So sometimes you don't even need those advanced software to work on these cases and work on lifting images in those dark areas. It's doing things with the highlights and lowlights. It's adjusting those to lift those shadows to the surface. And once you start lifting them and you start seeing them, much like you're seeing here, it does start developing, starts giving us some credible information. Now we're starting to stack up these circumstantial things, right? For example, we see what appears to be a walkie-talkie antenna in porch guy's pocket. Wouldn't that imply that there was multiple people? Who's walking around with a walkie-talkie in the middle of the night unless there's somebody on the other end of that walkie-talkie? So we have that. We have the back doors open, yet her coming out the front door, which could imply that somebody went through the back as he's out in the front. So the mixture of DNA is another. So we're getting all of these little circumstantial bites, right? And now they're starting to develop something a little bit more. And it's starting to, in my opinion, develop for us that there's multiple people on the scene. So now he's going back to address these things. So I just wanted to clarify it.
So we're going to go back to the porch, but this time we're going to look at it differently, because I think the bigger question may be, was Porch Guy the only person working at Nancy Guthrie's house that morning? So put everything else aside for just a minute. You know, the publicly reported timeline gives us 3 extremely important times. 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera disconnects. At 2:12 a.m., the security system detects activity. At 2:28 a.m., Nancy's pacemaker application disconnects from her phone. Those 3 times create 2 windows. First, 25 minutes.
Interesting.
25 minutes, then 16 minutes.
And guys, I got to be honest with you. This has been this is the exact reason why right here that I've never believed that this was a ransom ever. I still don't believe this is a ransom. Because right here, and where the camera disconnects, that's at 1:47. So what we're watching with the assailant and this unknown light source, that's happening before 1:47. So if you were to take all of these times, it appears these people were around this property for over an hour this evening, or this early morning hour. Over an hour. Over an hour. That doesn't sound like a burglary. That doesn't sound like a ransom. That sounds like something a lot more. The fact that at least one of these assailants have been back at this house, preparing this house for this particular night, shows premeditation. Weeks of premeditation. Weeks of premeditation. Weeks. Everything so far law enforcement has come up with the what if. It could be this or it could be that. Nothing in my mind has fit. I feel like when we know what really happened, we're going to say, that's it. We're going to just know. And right now, we don't have that confidence. I don't think we've hit the nail on the head yet. I really don't. I don't think our suspicions are accurate in any of this. Because again, you look at it from a burglary sense. How does this match a burglary? You look at it from an abduction sense, an abduction for ransom sense. It doesn't match an abduction. It doesn't match an abduction for ransom. You know, the only thing that I can get to fit for this is they wanted her dead. The only objective was getting her out of that house for a homicide. That's the only thing for me that has fit so far perfectly. This would explain why they came around the house multiple times. This would explain why they diligently worked around that house for over an hour before she was removed from the house. This is all those things. This will explain the blood trail out the front door. This would explain why they have flower pots out the back. They were coming in the back and the front. They were surrounding the house, so to speak. So I don't think we've uncovered the motive. I don't think we're anywhere close to the motive. I really don't.
And altogether, we're looking at approximately 41 minutes between the camera disconnect and the pacemaker app disconnect. That's where I want to stay today, because when you simply read those times, they don't sound particularly remarkable. 147, 212, 228. But start putting physical action inside that timeline. Now those numbers begin to mean something. Think about what this offender potentially had to accomplish. Approach Nancy's residence without attracting attention, deal with the security cameras, gain access to the house, locate Nancy, control an 84-year-old woman, deal with whatever confrontation occurred that resulted in Nancy's blood reportedly being found outside the residence. Move Nancy from the house, get her to a vehicle or another location, and potentially remove or disable additional evidence. And then leave the area without attracting attention.
I think he covered it pretty much in a nutshell, what these people had to accomplish. But the problem is gaining access to this house shouldn't have been that difficult. This lady lived here for 50 years. She felt ultra comfortable. According to her own family, she was accustomed to leaving doors open, unlocked, and windows open. So to me, in my opinion, the only obstacle that they truly had was scaling a fence or a wall to gain access to a house. She had a sliding glass door leading into her bedroom. They could have gained access there. There was only like a 2 or 3 foot decorative, border around her her lanai out there by her room. Over on the other side of the house, over here, this is where, right there, this little L shape right here, you got a sliding glass doors that go into the living room on this side, and then on this side over here, you've got the sliding glass doors going into her master bedroom, right there. This area right here only had a little 2-foot wall that somebody had to scale on the front of the house to gain access to Miss Nancy's bedroom that quickly. And yet we had all of this stuff back here opened and back door opened and stuff like that, when the quickest way to get in here was right here. So we have a lot of questions about this, but one of the biggest things that we've talked about since the beginning of this case was how nonchalant that guy was on the outside of her house, the porch guy. And we always asked, are we sure somebody wasn't in there already restraining Miss Nancy Guthrie? Because he just did not seem to have any type of urgency. He was moving about in front of a freaking camera. Every time you move in front of the camera, get out of the view of the camera, move back in front of the camera, get out of the view of the camera, it's going ding, 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 ding. So it's dinging to somebody's phone. So I'm having a hard time understanding how he was just moving about nonchalantly and just playing with that freaking camera, not knowing if it's sitting in there waking somebody up in the middle of the night going ding, 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 right? So that was one of the first things before we ever even knew that there was multiple people on this location, or could have been multiple people on this location. We were identifying how unusual his behaviors were outside of that house. Those behaviors on outside of that house appears to be somebody that knew Miss Nancy Guthrie because of how nonchalant they were acting. But wouldn't they also act nonchalantly if they had already maybe bludgeoned Miss Guthrie, maybe held her down, maybe already had her contained and controlled? Wouldn't that also give them the same type of behavior? I mean, there's something in this porch guy's backpack. What is it? Many people believe, have we ever thought maybe a hazmat suit? Did they go in there and dress in Tyvek suits so they wouldn't leave any, what did they have in the backpack? So you're right. That's why I think it was a bunch of BS. But also the camera was battery powered. Not necessarily. These things are battery powered or hardwired. She had a lot of cameras. I'm almost, in her affluence, I'm absolutely confident she bought a system and had an electrician wire it in, because she had cameras that were wired on top of her roof. She had a lot of stuff. So I almost guarantee her doorbell camera was hardwired in. There was probably no need for batteries. You can do it both ways. I don't have any doorbell wiring at my front, so I use batteries. I go through batteries like crazy. It's horrible. I live in Florida. Florida drains batteries like crazy. So mine just drains batteries. I think I have to replace batteries every three or 4 months in my cameras to keep my cameras going. I may ultimately hardwire. I know how to do all that. I worked on my dad's electrical truck since I was 2 years old. I was raised with electricity. I was always electrifying, just saying. Ask my mama, she was ready to kill me. She's ready to light my ass up. There you go. But I think she was hardwired. I looked at it. I couldn't tell, but I didn't see any. But you know what? I didn't see any wire off that bracket. You might be right. It might have been battery operated. You know what? It might have been battery operated. I don't see any I didn't, you know what? Now that you're saying that, it wasn't hardwired. I think you're right. It wasn't hardwired. Otherwise, we would have seen the wires. Let's look at Miss Nancy Guthrie's door.
More FBI involvement, right, at that news conference today, at least, in their presence. And they were reluctant to speak yesterday, but maybe even more so today about details, right?
Just walk up to the house now, see.
Pause. Okay, here we go.
Other thing we noticed, which I had reported earlier, is that the ring. Here we go. This is the new video. Look at this closely, Connell, because this is the first time that we're seeing this. But you can see right there. See the blood? There's blood outside the front door very clearly, and then you'll notice the ring camera is also missing. And I asked the sheriff about that, and he said they're looking into it. Whether did the perpetrator pull the ring camera off when
they're idiots? He should have had that information.
He said that's still under investigation.
I'm sorry, they're just idiots.
Does it stand out to you that you were able to do that? That this is not still secured as some sort of a crime scene?
Look at that blue shirt right there. Look at that.
They're allowing people to walk up, or that the family is now back, right? Controlling the home rather than the.
Okay, it is not hardwired. Here is the doorbell that would be hardwired, right here. This is where I think the other assailant was standing. Right here. I think he was standing right here. Right here. In this area right here. Either in the leaves or right here. I believe the other assailant was standing. Here's the deadbolt and here's the doorknob. This door never opened the entire time the assailant was taking off the doorbell camera, and we only see this. So I truly believe that the assailant was sent. It was anywhere from this line right here over. He wouldn't have been over here. He would have been over here. This is where I believe he was. I believe he was here. So investigators later removed a separate mounted doorbell camera from the side/roof of the home and was connected to a small black solar panel. I remember seeing that. There was so much light. I think I truly think that this is where we're at, in all honesty. I truly do. I believe this is where we're at. But that is not hardwired. So she's battery operated too. So because this right here is where the hard wire is. If she would have put it right here, they could have hardwired it in. This is her original doorbell. This is hardwired. This over here is not hardwired. Okay? This is not hardwired. So, if it was hardwired, you would see the lines. You would see the little hole, because you have to drill. I know exactly how you do it, but you have to drill, and there's got to be a little. You'd see the little lines, the little electrical lines out, like they were pulled off. You don't see the hole, and you don't see any lines coming out like they were ripped out. So this is not. I don't believe that camera was hardwired. That was my mistake. But we do know. So no hardwire. Let's go back to this.
That's a lot. Now, maybe one person did all of it. That's entirely possible. But there's a difference between something being possible and something being the scenario that makes the most sense.
Right, exactly.
And that's why I've become increasingly interested in those 25 minutes. Yeah. Now, let's assume that porch guy is alone. He approached.
But I do want to let you know that all of these cameras are all of these doorbell cameras, whether it's Nest, Blink, or oh good gracious, but the normal one. I forgot it. What a doorbell, Ring camera, ring. Okay, whether it's Nest, Blink, or Ring. Sorry about that, guys. They all have a hard wire option. Okay, you guys understand that? They all have a hard wire option. They all of them go either way. You can either hard wire them in, or you can go battery operated. They're built for either or. All of them. Actually, I think I got one. I might be able to show you.
Approaches the house. He's responsible for the camera. He's responsible for gaining entry. He's responsible for Nancy. He's responsible for moving her. He's responsible for whatever happened inside or outside the residence.
So if it's one person, as you see, he made a slide for this: camera, entry, Nancy, transport, escape.
And he's responsible for getting away. Now that means that every task happens sequentially. One person, can only physically be in one place at one time.
True.
If he's dealing with the camera, he's not simultaneously preparing a vehicle.
True. And he's not keeping somebody inside the house from calling law enforcement. Again, that's what's been so problematic of this porch guy this whole time. And we brought it up at nauseum, about how did he know that she wasn't in there calling 911? Ding, 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 ding. You would think that all the little dings from his movement would have woke her up out of a sound sleep. But again, she's deaf and blind without her glasses or her hearing aids. So she may not even have heard. But they wouldn't have known that. They shouldn't have known that unless they know who she is.
If he's inside dealing with Nancy, he's not outside watching the street. If he's moving Nancy, he's not simultaneously cleaning something up somewhere else.
He's making a lot of sense.
Everything has to happen one step after another. And that's where, time becomes important. Now, don't misunderstand me here, because I'm not telling you that there was another offender. We're testing the scenario.
You can tell he's a law enforcement officer and a prior judge just by the way he's handling it, okay? And I absolutely respect, because this is how the courts have to be handled, right? We're on a different realm. I'm on the common sense, how can a light move from up to down without somebody moving it from up to down? If I see an assailant and I see his hands and I know where his body is and know that he cannot be moving that light, something's moving that light. That's telling me it's either stuck to something and fell. Well, if it was already there, then why is he walking up to the door, right? And so it is clearly indicating for me in my brain that there is absolutely 100% beyond a reasonable doubt somebody sitting on the outskirts of that camera view. And that's where I'm going to be. And that's from his presentation here. Now, granted, he has cautioned us at length not to assume that this is a secondary person, but we are going to go ahead and take that assumption.
But put a second person into that same 25-minute window. Suddenly, tasks can happen simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
One person deals with the camera. Another watches the residents. One person enters and another prepares transportation. One person controls Nancy, another handles the equipment. One person moves Nancy. Another watches for headlights, neighbors, police, or anyone else who could interrupt them. Now, the exact same 25 minutes begins to look completely different. And that's what brings us to something that several of you have noticed: the light. I received comments telling me that I needed to go back and watch the FBI video again, specifically watch the right side of the screen. So that's what we're going to do.
And we have seen this light source that he is referring to.
And before I show you this, I want to establish something. I'm not going to tell you what you're seeing because I don't know. We're dealing with dark.
I agree with him. You know, I'm speaking for myself. You guys are being presented the information, and it can only tell you what you think it could be. To me, it tells me there's another person there. To you, it might not. To you, you might have another opinion about how that happened. But for me, I believe another person was there.
Dark, compressed video surveillance footage, and light can reflect. Infrared cameras can produce strange effects. Compression can create shapes that aren't really there.
Like on the
movement can make things appear
like
large.
The shapes, for example, you know how we have the black gloves? We can go to that video right now, the black gloves. Many people believe that his black gloves were torn because, let me keep going up here, because of the shine from the night vision camera, that red little light that does the night vision. Well, it when it shines on the glove, it gives it a bubble, almost an appearance that the glove is ripped or has a hole in it. I can't get it to stop. Right. Oh, you guys just saw it, right? Where it looks like I can't get it to stop right on the hole. But it does something with the glove where it makes it look like it's ripped or torn or something like that, and that's just a reflection with some divots in it and that so I think that's what kind of what he's referring to there.
Larger than it actually is.
Let me go back 5 seconds.
Movement can make things appear larger than it actually is. So I'm not identifying this as another person. I'm not identifying, it as a flashlight. I'm certainly not identifying it as a selfie light.
I am calling it exactly what I believe that we can safely call it, and that is an unexplained light source.
Okay, let's get past this. Okay, so we've already watched it, this video. So let me go ahead and get past this and see what he thinks it is. There we go. Let's listen. So now he's thinking it's a compact and lightweight light. Now, how can this light be there without somebody pointing it? We can see the assailant. We can see porch guy's body, right? And it was his right side was cut off on that camera. So now we're only seeing that. So let's go.
Now, one viewer believes that it could be a small rectangular selfie-style light being held by another person. And that's an interesting theory, but we're not going to turn a theory into evidence. Now, let's watch it again frame by frame.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the treat. Thank you. Baby Pickle, we appreciate you.
A little closer.
There's the light. There's the light.
Now, Does the light remain stationary, or does its position change? Because movement matters. If we're simply seeing a fixed porch light or reflection, we'd expect certain characteristics. If the source itself moves, now we have a different problem to explain. Now, what's the relationship between the light and everything that surrounds it? Let's watch it again.
It's almost like you can see his face in that darkness. Oh, it's so creepy. It's just creepy.
What caused that? This may be even more important. Watch the porch guy, then watch the light. Are their movements connected?
They're
In
not.
other words, when porch guy...
In my opinion, they're not connected. Like, the camera's not moving. The porch guy's moving the shrubbery. But other than the shrubbery, that's all that is moving. And the light.
Does the light move away from what would suggest that it's attached to him or something that he's carrying? Or does it appear to move independently?
I feel, before we play this through, how many feel that it moves independently and how many people believe it's stationary? Independently will be a 3. Independently will be a 3. Stationary will be a 4. Independent will be a 3. Stationary will be a 4. Please make your selections in the comment box below. Moving 3, stationary 4. We got some people that believe it's stationary, some people believe it's moving. Some people, okay. So we have a few people that think it's stationary. More people believe it's moving, but there are a few people that believe it's stationary. I think it's moving, but you know, I mean, we're gonna learn. We're gonna play this. I haven't gotten this far in the video yet, so we're all learning. We're all about to find out together. I don't know the answer to this. I'll be honest with you. I don't know the answer to this. Let's find out.
That's what I want you watching, because independent movement would be far more interesting than just simply seeing a flashlight. Or
I agree. So independent movement. Moving is what I mean. Okay, Arizona. Movement is 3, stationary is 4. Movement is 3, stationary is 4.
a flash of a light.
It's this light right here.
Now, there are several possibilities. It could be some type of flashlight. It could be an electronic device. It could be equipment associated with the porch guy, and it could just be a reflected light.
I don't think it's a reflected light.
It could be an infrared, or camera artifact.
I don't believe that.
It could be something associated with the movement around the Nest camera. And yes, it could conceivably be something being carried by another person.
Mm-hmm.
The video has to speak for itself. And this is where today's discussion changes, because we're not examining the light in isolation. We're examining it alongside those 25 unexplained minutes. At 1:47, the camera disconnects. 25 minutes later, the system detects activity. 16 minutes after that, Nancy's pacemaker application disconnects from her phone. And somewhere in the video evidence surrounding porch guy's activity, viewers believe that they can see an unexplained moving light off to the side. We just seen this in the video. Maybe those things have absolutely nothing to do with each other.
I think they do. I really do think they do. I not only think that they do, but I do think that it is independently moving. Nothing else was moving in that video except that light. I mean, that light and the like the actual camera wasn't moving. The light above wasn't moving. The porch guy's only hand was going toward to rip the camera off, so he was moving. But I don't see where anything he was doing would create a reflection, which would be the only other explanation for this weird light, would be some type of reflection of some sort, in my opinion. I mean, there's clearly not a light, growing out of the front door into the porch area, right? So it would either have to be a reflection or another person. And I don't think it was a reflection, because again, it's moving independently, in my opinion. But let's keep working. This is the expert in this conversation.
But they deserve to be examined together. Now, if there was another person involved, where would that person be? They wouldn't necessarily stand directly beside the porch guy. That wouldn't make sense. And if I'm planning something like this with another person, I want somebody watching what I cannot watch. Maybe the road or the driveway.
Oh, maybe the road or the driveway? Okay. Maybe there was somebody out at the road watching for anybody. Maybe that's what the guy was leaning back when he was picking the foliage up, saying, hey, watch this. Make sure nobody's coming. I got to remove this camera. What if law enforcement has heard their voices? Because wouldn't that camera pick up the voices? They've got the videos. Wouldn't they have the audios? I know I have audio out here. Let's see. Do I have audio out here? Let's find out if I have audio out here. Let's hit one of the buttons. I'm not going to show it. We just need to hear it. Okay. Let's see if we have.
Delilah, why are you over there? Get here right now. Right now.
Oh, Delilah was in the wrong spot. So it sounds like I got audio. Sure does sound like I have audio, does it not? Does anybody find it funny that the FBI uploaded all of those videos without sound? Interesting. I wonder why they uploaded all those videos without sound. Were the people talking in Spanish? Could we tell they were talking to multiple people? Could we hear somebody else's voice in the background? Why? I have audio? You have a video with audio? Oh, you're talking about your cameras? My cameras do as well. I have audio. So why did they give us a bunch of video clips with no audio? I mean, why, if there's audio on those clips and somebody could hear somebody's voice, if they have the OMG. How angry would you be if they have the suspect's voice and they have failed to allow us to hear the suspect's voice for 6 months? Oh my gosh. They might have audio of this man. They may know what he sounds like. They may know whether he speaks fluent Spanish or if he's speaking English. Why are they not releasing that? I never even thought about that. We have a poll going on right now. The poll says, why was Luke detained? Because of a snitch? Ellie did know. Oh, I meant didn't know what they were doing. Oops. Luke was there or in the area. Girlfriend, friend, accomplice caught. So the majority of people believe Luke was physically in the area at the time Miss Nancy Guthrie has disappeared. And I keep wondering, is that because he is there? He's by the car. So we're going to end the poll right here. If it's true, then we all need to ask, why aren't they releasing? Exactly. But I mean, let me ask you guys this. How many of you guys, you just raise your hand. You can put a hand in there. You can put a 1. You can put any indicator that you want in the chat to let me know. How many of you guys have cameras around your house? If you have cameras around your house, how many of you guys have audio for those cameras? If you do not have audio on your cameras, can you raise a hand? Well, you're probably going to raise a hand in the chat. If you do not have audio with your cameras or your subscription, can you say no sound or no audio in the chat? You're going to have to type it out versus 1 or 2 because I don't know how to do it any other way. But I want to know how many people have cameras that don't have audio to them. That's what I really want to find out. Because I think this day and age, all the cameras have audio to them that are on our houses, right? I mean, we do have some cameras at businesses that don't have audio, that are just, like Canon cameras. They don't have any audio at them at all, but they do have, like the one on the corner of Sebastian's, the one that recorded the light source between the common area. I think they got these guys. I think they got their audio. I don't know why we didn't think about that before. I mean, we've talked about it because we talked about, this being I remember once upon a time we talked about this camera being battery operated, and we started saying, oh my gosh, when they tore it off, they wouldn't have disconnected the camera. The camera wouldn't have broke just because they took it off the bracket. That means they might actually know exactly how they got into the house. If this guy put this in their pocket or in their backpack, they could have probably heard they could probably have the entire crime, like the audio of the entire crime, because allegedly, this was taken before they took Nancy out of her house. Oh my gosh, guys, they might have audio of Miss Nancy Guthrie being literally kidnapped and taken out of her house. They could literally definitively tell us whether this person was speaking Spanish or had a Spanish descent or some other kind of accent. We could have had this case resolved months ago. Oh my gosh, we could have had this case resolved months ago, folks. Months ago. I mean, we would have to conclude. I mean, am I wrong here? We would have to conclude if they have videos that they have audio, no? OMG. Yes, you are right. That statement, oh, I'm getting goosebumps. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps. She was pleading for her life. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. Where is that? Where is that? Hold on a second. Oh my gosh. They've got her on camera. They've got an audio of her abduction. Oh my gosh, guys, they've got an audio of her abduction. They have to have an audio of her abduction. Oh my gosh, let's hear. Begging for mercy. Begging for mercy with no shoes. Begging for mercy. Let me hold on. Let it I don't know if it's, yeah, let it do its thing. Hold on here. So it wasn't in that one. Mercy. Let's put Mercy in here. Nope, not in this one. Okay, guys, give me a second. I'm going to find it. It's not in this one. That means it's got to be in the other one. Hold on. So this is 1. Let's go to 2. Okay. So that's part 1. She wasn't there. Let's go to part 2. Why do I only have part 2? Oh, there it is. Part 1, part 2, and part 3. Okay, let's go to part 2 and see if we've got part 2. Okay, let's go to part 2. I want to hear exactly what she says. Guys, I think we've got, not only do I think we have multiple people, I think we got audio. I think we got audio. No results. So is it on begging? Let me do begging. She did say beg. Beg. Let me do beg. From beginning. Okay, let me go back to 1. Sorry, guys, I gotta do this. Let me just put them all out because it's driving me nuts. This is going back and forth. It's getting old. So give me just a second. Let me find them. Let me just put them all out. 1, 2, and 3, and we'll search all 3 of them. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 1, 1, 2, and 3. So let me just do this. 1, 2, and 3. There we go. Now we can close this. So we got 1, 2, and 3. So let me check this one. Let's get them all out. Let's get all the transcripts out. It's going to take just a second. Sorry, guys. I don't know if my lips are unsyncing or not, but give me just a second. While it's doing that, let's go over here and get all these open so we can just bounce from one to the other until we find what we're looking for. And then the third, number 3. Number 3. No, she said with no shoes, so we'll do shoes. I just got to find the area in these, so let's go with shoes. Shoe. Nothing found with shoe. Shoe. Nothing found with shoe. Shoes without her medicine. It is the first one. I knew it. Okay. Here it is, guys. We're going to go back just a few seconds. Here it is. Okay. It's in the very first one. It's surreal. Okay, here it is, guys. Here's the statement she says. Here's the statement she says. Come on in, guys. Here is the statement Savannah says. Oh.
A kidnapper who took an 84-year-old woman in the dead of night in her pajamas with no shoes, without her medicine. This little person. And to beg for mercy.
To beg for mercy. And to beg for mercy. And to, okay, so Kim doesn't have audio on hers. What says, do you have let me ask this. Actually, let me ask Google, because we know she has a Nest. Nest, doorbell, camera, Does it have audio? Yes, all models of Google Nest doorbell cameras have built-in audio features. They include a microphone and speaker for two-way communications and support audio recordings and video clips. It says two-way talk can speak and listen to visitors through the phone or compatible smart display. Noise cancellation. Ooh. Built-in technology helps reduce background street noise. So they had crystal clear audio. Audio recording. The camera records sound along with video for your event history. You can turn audio recordings on or off in the app settings. I guarantee she had it on. I guarantee she had it on, folks. I guarantee she had it on. Dun, 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 dun. I think we have audio. Now comes the question. Why in the world, if they have the voice of these suspects, why they have not release that to the public? Are you freaking kidding me? Somebody could hear somebody's voice. Do you know in this society how many people have people that don't like them, that if they heard their voice and they're like, I know that SOB's name, they would be picking up the phone and calling you? Ex-girlfriends, a whole bunch of people. And so now we're finding out that it appears that it's possible. Now I'm going to say possible because it's not. I think we have enough circumstantial facts to identify or to make the leap that there's multiple people on this location. I think that we can also look at the video, the one video that's split into two because the FBI split it into two. Why? I think that they did that in an effort to cut out the secondary person. Okay? I think this is why they leaped to the ransom note. They see all these guys around this person's house and think that this is, now that they have all these ransom notes coming in, instead of just realizing that there was something more going on here than a ransom or a burglary. I don't believe it's a burglary. I don't believe it's ransom. Okay? This has been a revelation live stream today. A freaking revelation live stream today. This is beyond anything that I thought we were going to uncover in this live stream. I think all I was rooting for was just, some confirmation more about the assailant and multiple assailants being on this property. I think now we officially have audio. I think we have enough circumstantial factors here that can ascertain that not only do we have audio here, but law enforcement told Miss Savannah Guthrie some of what that audio was. I think this helps identify that Miss Guthrie was at least alive when she left the house. That means Chris Nanos delays.
Or the neighboring houses and the headlights, people walking dogs at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's unheard of.
Not really.
Someone unexpectedly maybe coming home. The police, anything that threatens the operation. And if somebody is manipulating a security camera, having another person provide light while staying partially concealed isn't an impossible scenario. But again, possible isn't proof. That's the line that we have to maintain. Now, what if Port's guy isn't the person responsible for every action occurring during those 25 minutes? Think about that. We've actually focused on him because
he's there.
He's the person that we can see.
Mm-hmm.
Human beings do that. We see the person on the camera unconsciously build the entire crime around that individual. But, cameras have boundaries. They show what's inside the frame.
And not what's outside the frame. We have to infer. And when we have strange lights popping out of a door when a door's not open, well, I guess we can infer that somebody is holding that light that's popping out. I'm going to skip ahead about 30 seconds here.
Who's watching the road? And they don't show what's happening simultaneously somewhere else on the property. The crime scene. Now, let's put our two scenarios side by side. You know, scenario one, porch guy acted alone. He conducts surveillance. He approaches Nancy's home. He handles the security system. He gains entry and he controls Nancy. He removes Nancy and he handles transportation and he leaves. Every task performed by one individual.
All right, now that we have this and we're coming to a segue of possibly release the doorbell audio now, absolutely, Zuli. Absolutely. We have audio. We have confirmed that there would be audio with accompanying these videos. That means that our law enforcement people know what these people sound like. We have something that could literally find them, and they've delayed this for 6 blessed months. 6 blessed months. We want to hear the person's voice. They have the person's voice. Release the audio. Now it's our time to campaign. We've got something of substance here. We got something that can put this case to a rest and put this case to an end today. Release the audio. Release the audio. I think tomorrow we are going to be campaigning for an audio release. I think this is super, super important. Thank you so much, Zuli. Appreciate you, love. I think this is super, super, super important, and I think that we need to start campaigning and pushing the FBI. We need to start flooding the FBI Phoenix as well as Pima County Sheriff's Office with letters, emails, and everything to release the audio. Enough's enough. Enough is enough. We want this case over and done with, and we're sick of these freaking games law enforcement is playing. I have never seen, actually I have seen. I've seen here lately in almost every single case that we have been covering where law enforcement themselves obstruct their own damn case. It's getting so frustrating, and they wonder, wait, why are we so delayed? Because you're obstructing your own damn case. We've got audio here. We've got these people's voice on camera. That could help literally solve this today. The flip bleep bleh, bleh.
That's possible, absolutely. Now you take scenario 2, porch guy had help. One person handles the camera, another handles the surveillance or the transportation. Task overlap. Movement happens simultaneously. You know, the amount of activity that can occur inside a 25-minute, time frame increases dramatically. And potentially something outside the camera's primary field of...
Oh, thank you, Carol. Carol, whoever you are, you're a blessing. Thank you so much. Carol Cord. Sorry, I've been thinking it's Carol. I got my spectacles on today. Thank you. God bless you. I appreciate you guys. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Which brings me to the next thing, guys. Just on a side note, we're fighting legal expenses in Tennessee, much like the guys are in the case with Nancy Guthrie. We were hit almost 2 years ago for pretty much the same thing, and we're fighting. I've got a federal lawsuit against Sumner County, but we have to resolve my appellate case first. At least that's what the county is pushing for, and they've already requested a motion for stay in my federal case pending the outcome of my appellate case. So I need to help raise some significant money. We haven't moved our USD here, the amount raised in a couple days now. So I just thought I would throw this out here. This is our Give Send Pro or Give Send Go campaign, and it's to raise the $5,000. Some people like helping us, helping with the crowdfunding $1 dollar will do. We're not looking for big, tickets, $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, stuff like that to help. Every little thing helps. And trust me, $1 for 500 people is $500. It's amazing what we can do with crowdfunding. If you don't like just throwing money away, Sonia, our beautiful Sonia, has stepped up to the plate. Here are the designs she made. She's selling shirts or other items. But I think the shirts are the ones that's going to be helping with our legal defense fund. But she has all these shirts and designs that you can get. I think it's like 5 or 6 little designs that you can choose from and get a shirt while supporting our channel and supporting our cause. We really do appreciate any and everything that you guys do. Plus, I'm also doing Substack. We haven't been doing a lot of publications very much, but we are rolling out our publication platform, which is on Substack. We do provide both paid and free articles. So even if you don't want to pay for another subscription, please support our Substack, especially on our free channels. The best way you can do, just like you do over here, hit that star, put a little comment in the chat bar and say hi, thank you. Or start a discussion on what you're reading here and what you're feeling and stuff like that. I read these things over here too, and they might be a discussion point for us to talk about over here. So any help that you can provide, we'd greatly appreciate it. And again, Carol, thank you so much for all your love and support of this channel. I appreciate you. I really do. Thank you, guys. I appreciate everything that you guys do for me and this channel, especially in these very difficult times that we are dealing with. I wish law enforcement would quit trying to flex their muscle on independent media. It's not right. It's not fair. It's actually unlawful, and they're the only ones breaking the laws, not us. And that's pretty sad because you've got law enforcement that's breaking the laws and violating the rights of citizens. There's never a place in this country where I'm going to ever be okay with that. Ever. I don't care what side of the aisle it goes on. I don't care. There's no place in this world where I'll be ever okay with that. And it's happening. It's becoming a commonplace, and I'm sick and tired of it. And I think that we need to start having laws against officers. If you put your hands on us and you unlawfully detain us and restrain us, that's kidnapping. I think that you guys should be accountable to the law just like we are. You have the law is very clear. Unless these things happen, you got to keep your damn hands off of us. So if you put your hands on us unlawfully, it should no longer be a civil suit. It should be a criminal one. Because you willfully and intentionally and maliciously arrested somebody for their constitutional rights, in violation of their constitutional rights. And there needs to be more to be had with that than just a civil suit. Because what these guys went through out there in Pima County was malicious. It was intentional, and they had no rights to put one freaking hand on them. What they did to Alex was next to kidnapping. They had no probable cause to do that. They had no evidence to support whatever they wanted to fake for probable cause. Nothing. They did it maliciously, intentionally, and they kidnapped that man. That is a criminal charge. That is not a civil one. Our laws in this country need to change. You want to FA, then FO. And that goes to law enforcement as well. Because they are just as corrupted in some cases as some of these criminals out here on the streets. Look at Chris Nanos. He's a freaking criminal that deserves to be in jail. Period. And he's still doing criminal conduct, including lying under oath and committing perjury as a sheriff. He is a disgrace to the badge. A disgrace to the badge. And you tell me what officer wants to work under a criminal sheriff? What good blue officer wants to work under a criminal sheriff that bludgeons people while they're handcuffed? Not any sheriff or officer I know. There is not one law enforcement officer that I know that would want to work under Chris Nanos. Unless they're just as corrupted as him, which we do have a few. And I think that Lieutenant Santos is one of them. Oh, yeah, we know about you too, sir. I can promise you're not going to be the next in charge. We are coming after you, sir. We're going to make sure that all of you corrupt SOBs in Pima County, your careers are done. You know how you 86'd all these people these bright stars in the Pima County Sheriff's Department, well, that's going to be your karma when the regime is changed over. All of you guys are going back to training. And I can promise you that is going to happen. These people need to go back to training, and people need to be fired once Chris Nanos is gone. Santos is the first one that needs to go.
The view becomes much more important, including that unexplained light. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to watch this video once. Watch it several times.
We have.
And then the first time, watch only the porch guy. The second time, I want you to ignore porch guy completely. And then I want you to watch the right side of the screen. Then
we did it. We did it. It is definitely not from porch guy. It is definitely not from porch guy.
Watch the light itself.
I agree with you,
and then
Savvy.
ask yourself a question. Does it move? Does it move while porch guy? You've seen the porch guy. He is fumbling around with the camera, with the foliage. The light appears to be stable. It's not moving. It's stationary. Does it appear to be carried, or does it eliminate anything around it?
I don't think it's stationary. I absolutely see it moving from one place to another. If it's moving from up here to down here, it is not stationary. Stationary means it started here and it stays here. It did not start there and it did not stay there. So I don't think it's stationary. I'm not classifying it as stationary, but you know.
Does its movement correspond with the porch guy, or does it appear independent?
How many people believe it's independent? I believe it's independent. I'm independent.
And here's something especially important.
It moves.
If you think you see a hand fingers another person or particular device, tell me exactly what frame or second that you're looking at.
That would be interesting. I think we need to do that. I know we got some pretty good people. I know like Girl Mom was in here yesterday because we were talking about Sebastian. Oh, that reminds us, this afternoon, we're going back to Sebastian Rogers. We're doing an afternoon show. Without a doubt. Friday afternoon, we're doing an afternoon show, y'all. Okay? We're doing an afternoon show. It's going to be about Sebastian Rogers. I'd like you guys all here. We're going over Elevated Truths. All of it. We're not going to cut it off. It's hard to listen to because all he does is scream and act hard, and it's just so childish and ghetto at times that it's frustrating. But we're going to go through it because there is some information there I think that we needed to go, and if we have an opportunity to bring up Sebastian and have a probative conversation about new details in the Sebastian Rogers case, that's what we do. So we're going to be diving in probably 2 or 3 hours this evening or this afternoon on Sebastian Rogers. So guys, if you have not changed the bell to all, change the bell to all. I'd like to see you guys all come back. We need to have some conversations about these things. We need to break these things down. Are they true? Are they not true? Where did this information come? What is he talking about? I feel like I have some answers for you. And I would like to go over those this afternoon. So come on back. We might even attempt to try to get our like test the waters for some products to start having panels, right? I've had a lot of people reach out to me wanting to come up on panels. I have a personal panel that I want to do for Nancy Guthrie. I think we have a personal panel that we need to do for Sebastian Rogers, where we have some panel guests in a structured conversation and information. And so I think maybe this afternoon we might test some products out to see what works. And we might have some people come up here just to test out, like we're going to try to do like maybe a Google Meets and see if how it bogs the system down. If it doesn't bog the system down, we might start doing some panel shows on this platform. What I want to do is I want to completely get away from StreamYard. I don't like StreamYard. StreamYard does not work well on Apple products. It just doesn't. I've had nothing but problems with StreamYard since the day I bought my Apple computer. And so with StreamYard costing between $40 and $80 a month, it's a cost that we could afford to spend. But my question is, why would I afford to spend money for StreamYard when I have so many problems with StreamYard. And quite frankly, even with OBS and all the technical issues we've had with OBS, which have been pretty stressful, right now we've got it finally working right. And we're saving ourselves, $40 to $80 a month that can be used on other things, like our subscriptions to AI programs that could benefit this show a lot better. So, and not only that, but the way we've got this all set up, I'm overlaid over all of the crap that we've got on here. When there's a breaking news information and we need to point out stuff, I have the ability. I can't do what I do on this program here on StreamYard. And you know what the best part about this program that I'm using here? Anybody? Let's start with, give me an F. F, give me an R. R, give me an E. E, give me an E. E, did I tell you I'm conservative and I'm a cheapie? Well, I am, okay? And so this is my kind of price, okay? It takes a little more work, but I like the results of it. This is a True Blue studio that we're using instead of one built by another company with resources on it. And granted, they do give you a lot of upgraded resources, and they bought a lot and have paid services with their OBS, but yeah, I like it. We have the ability to take that money and use it for some other service that would help benefit this show much more than trying to get you guys to see me, right? So we need to find a way to build it in the panel with our OBS without using StreamYard. We do have a free service to StreamYard. I don't want to use StreamYard, okay? I don't want to use StreamYard. If we have to go to StreamYard, I will begrudgingly go to StreamYard. I don't want to. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to try to find another program, okay? And I think we're going to try Google Meets. We can try, what was the other one? Skype. Remember back in the day, Skype? We've got there's a lot more products out there than we think. We just need to find something that has low bandwidth usage that will work and perform well with OBS. So Savvy Streamer Gamer says I stream OBS. I like it. I personally like OBS. I'm learning, like, there's a lot of hinky crap, and I can tell you the stuff that I do here on the MacBook, and then when I go to the Windows base, oh my gosh, I am just so confused. Everything is so backwards, but I am going to eventually convert away from Apple. I'm not an Apple fan. I've never been an Apple fan, and it costs entirely too much. I will tell you, all the people that have ownership in Apple, they use Android products. Okay? That should tell you everything you need to know. Bill Gates uses Android products. He was a major investor in Apple, yet he will not use an Apple product. There's a reason, okay? Apple charges you way too much. Every single app that you purchase, you could be getting for free on an Android device. The reason why they purchase is because Apple wants their 30%. So there is no free versions. You guys have no free versions of any of these apps. Why? Because they charge an arm and a leg to the app creator to be on their Apple platform, and they charge over and above 30% every time you purchase anything with your Apple phone. So if you want to save yourself money, if you want to have more base products that you don't have to pay app fees for, it's time for you to go back to Android. Yes, it's going to be a learning curve, just like it was a learning curve for me to come over to Apple, but I tried it for 5 years. It caused my cost to go up almost $200 to $300 a month for the conversion from Android. And I run an entire business. I edit videos, everything, right? And I've been doing this for years, and it costs me almost $200 to $300 more a month for Apple products. If you are a business, stay away from Apple products. I know it's very easy, very enticing. They'll give you a free phone if you sign up to Verizon, to T-Mobile, to Apple, right? Why are they giving, or to AT&T? Why are they giving away free Apple phones for all of these things? Maybe it's because they want you locked into Apple. Everything you buy has to be Apple compatible. You can't pass it unless you buy the $2,500 Apple computer. You have problems with your earbuds until you buy the $250 earbuds that go with it. It is a freaking racket, folks. Quit being sucked into a scam. Yes, they work. Yes, they work. But is it really worth you paying an additional $5,000 a year for? I'm sorry, it's just not. And I guarantee you look at everything you purchase on your cell phone, on your Apple product, you're probably paying $5,000 a year or more in fees from using that cell phone that you never even knew about. And I think that that's problematic for me, because you know what? We are required to be aware of this, right? This to me seems really almost like a, what do they call it? When businesses do scrupulous stuff. Like, they should be informing you how much it costs. Like, when you get financing for a house, it breaks down all your financing costs for that. But when you get a cell phone that's like this, that's set up like Apple, where they're charging you 30% from, you know, you can't even get a subscription on Facebook without paying Apple 30%. Did you know that? Thank you, Jean. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you. But many people don't even know that. You can't even pay for a subscription on Facebook without paying 30% every single month to iPhone. I found this out because I went to sign up, you know, to pay for my sister. She has a Facebook account, and I wanted to be a subscriber to her account. And they gave me a receipt, and they were required with Facebook to show me the Facebook fee and the Apple fee. So I got a receipt, and that was the first time I realized, oh my gosh, every month I'm paying Apple. Over and above buying the most expensive phone on the market, over and above spending more money on this computer than I've ever spent on any laptop in my life. Over and above all that, that's not good enough for Apple. That's not good enough for Apple. No, they nickel and dime you to death every single month. So you do what you will. As soon as I get an opportunity, we're going back to Windows. Windows-based everything. I'm ready for my cost to be reduced another $200 to $300. And as soon as I go back to Windows, that's how much money I will be saving every single month. Check your email. The light source, Ash Rhythm, did some focus on that light source, and it's an interesting find. Okay, pretty little clues. Let's see what we got here. Pretty little clues. Pretty little clues. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Oh, I did see that. I did see that. I'm digesting that. I'm not ready to present that yet. I see that. And I'm still digesting. I'm still digesting that, because there is some speculation on what that truly means, and the Wicca and all that other stuff. Yeah. So I did see that. I'm still trying to digest it. I'm not ready to present that yet. But thank you. But I did see it. So thank you. What else do we have here? Do we have anything else that needs to be here? Pictures. Yeah. Okay, perfect. All right, guys. Well, I think that's all I've got for presentation material for this morning. We will be back later this afternoon for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, the update. We're gonna start the little bit. This is what I don't like about Elevated Truth. If he was really the man that he says he is about this case, why isn't he keeping these videos up for us to analyze? Why does he go out here and spit out all this information and then go delete his videos? I am so sick of that. That's so childish. You know what? You want to talk about a man card, Elevated Truth? Why don't you stand on what you say instead of duck bobbing and weaving? If you say it, you should stand on it. That means you should stand on it today. You should stand on it tomorrow. You should stand on it next week. And every time you pull those videos back, it shows me how much of a coward and how much you might be lying. Because I'm not calling you a liar. Make no mistake what I'm saying. But when every time you come out here and you speak on the record and then you remove the record, that to me is deception. Because then tomorrow you can alter what you say ever so slightly and start moving that goalpost because every time we turn around, you want to say something on the record, and then you want to go back there and start removing all of your videos. I find that to be not a man. I find that to be a coward. You know why? Because I've been through hell from the same people you're going through hell for, and I've had to deal with it for 5 years. You tell me where I started talking shit about them and going and removing it. Nope, it's all still there. Every last bit of it. All the cuss words, all the nastiness, Bullhorn Betty losing her shit, it's all right there and has never left this show or any of my history. Not one time. Why? Because I owned it back then, and I own it still today. That's why. So that tells you I'm more of a man as a female than you are, dude. Quit being so dirty and dirty deleting. Either stand on what you're saying or shut the fuck up. That's my message to Elevated Truth. That's my message to Elevated Truth. Excuse my F-bomb. Sorry, guys. Excuse my F-bomb. But shut up. But shut up. I'm sick and tired of hearing it. I think everybody in here is sick and tired of hearing Elevated Truth talk his mad cash shit and then delete the video. That is such a coward. That is a man that doesn't want to be caught in a lie somewhere. That's what it says to me. So Elevated Truth, you want us to take you seriously? Keep your lives up. If you got something to say, then own it. Don't delete it. Own it. That's what we do here on these streets. Anyways, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. And please don't forget to sign up. Don't forget to change that bell to all, because we are coming back here. I don't know exactly the specific time, but we have a good live for Sebastian Rogers this afternoon. So you don't want to miss a thing if you're in the Sebastian Rogers case. We'll see you soon, guys. Take care.